So for this extremely super easy and fun DIY craft, I have for you the following supplies, all from the Dollar Tree, of course. So to begin, I have one of these styrofoam ring forms. I also have some of this here velvety ribbon. This came out during the Valentine's season last year. I had it in my stash. I also have one of these famous pool noodles. And we're going to be utilizing one of these here decor pieces. And these are just some witch's legs. They're meant to be like a door hanger of some sort. So we're going to be using that also in this craft. We're also going to be needing a knife to cut through that pool noodle, a pair of scissors, and a signage of your choice. This is just the one I had available. So if you want to see how all of this comes together, all you have to do is stick around. So the fact that this velvet ribbon only brings a yard, clearly that's not going to be enough for the entire wreath form, but we're going to make it work, guys. We're going to make it work. So we're going to start by fusing that velvet ribbon with a little bit of hot glue right onto that wreath, just at the beginning, just to get it started, and then we're going to wrap it around until we get to the end and add a little bit more glue to fuse it on, and hopefully we can get this guy halfway around the entire wreath and we should be good. Okay, so that 1 yard of velvet ribbon did get us halfway around the wreath, which is a good thing. So clearly, if you want to wrap it in its entirety, you're going to need 2 spools of that velvet ribbon to make it around the entire wreath. So now we're going to go ahead and move on to the next step, which is going to be to take our signage apart. And so I'm not going to need it hanging or dangling like that. So what we're going to do is we're just going to come in and take those staples off from the back with our staple remover or our wire cutters. And we're going to remove those individual slats. But to begin, I'm going to just snip off that little hanger from the top because we don't need that right now. And we're just going to proceed to take off all those staples. All right, here's a look at what I got going on after removing all of those staples and those pieces of ribbon. And in hindsight, I really didn't even need to go that route. I could have just snipped off those pieces of ribbon and called it a day. But in the interest of it maybe not laying flush properly to the wreath form, I wanted to make sure, better safe than sorry. So now that we got all of that out the way and cleared out, now I can move on to the next step. Next up, we're going to grab that door hanger, our little witch's legs, if you will, and we're going to start by snipping off that annoying tag. And we're going to take them and we're going to cut them right up underneath that little tool skirt that it has. We're just going to grab our scissors and we're going to snip them straight across. And now that our witch's legs are detached from that ring, next is where the pool noodle comes in. So we're simply going to be taking those little witch's legs and laying them up on top of that pool noodle to measure the length that we're going to be needing of that pool noodle. And we're going to take our trusty little knife and cut right into that bad boy, and it cuts just like butter. So once we get that measurement down, then we're going to come again and cut it in half. Once the pool noodle is halved, we're going to split it down the center yet again because it's a little too wide to fit inside the witch's legs, if you will. So we're going to hit it with that knife yet again down the center. And here's a look at that pool noodle once it was split down for the second time. So we cut it in half and then in half again. And it's the perfect size now to shove right down into them little witch's legs to give it a little bit of substance. So you want to make sure that the flat portion of the pool noodle is facing to where the back of your legs are going to hang. And you're just going to slip them into that fabric just as if you were putting on a pair of socks. So here's what those witches' legs look like now that we've given them a little substance with those pool noodles. And what I'm showing you here is that these witches' shoes are really double-sided, so they can go for either side. So you want to make sure that you insert that pool noodle correctly to where either side is facing left or right, if that makes sense, and so that the pool noodle is laying flush to where you're going to hang it from. So now that we've done all of that correctly, we can move on to the next portion, which is to dry fit that sign to that ring form to see how we're going to position it so that we can place our witch's legs on it. And so I've already decided that I want the bottom portion of that sign where it says my pretties to hang a little bit lower so that I could attach my witch's legs to the sign as opposed to the ring form itself, because it'll fuse much better to that MDF particle board than it will to the styrofoam wreath form, if that makes sense. And now I'm simply going to be adding some of that Gorilla Hot Glue adhesive to the connecting points on that witch's hat so that I can fuse it onto that wreath form. And I'm going to be generous with the glue just on those connecting points and lay it down right onto that wreath form and press it firmly to fuse it into place. Okay, so now that our sign is attached to that wreath form, and this is what it looks like from the back, now we can attach our witch's legs. And I'm going to be turning it upside down to sort of try to get it all in frame as much as I can anyway, because it's kind of hard to do this on camera, but you get the picture here. I'm just simply just trying to situate my legs where they belong and make sure that the flat part is the way it's supposed to be. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to hit it with some hot glue. So now we're going to make a pool of that Gorilla Hot Glue right on top of that MDF board, and we're going to be just as generous as we want to be with that glue because it's the only thing that we have that's going to attach those legs onto this sign. And then we're going to slap that sucker right inside that pool and press it there so that it could fuse into place, and we're going to repeat the same exact step on the opposite side. So here's a look at our wreath with the witch's legs attached, and I'm loving the way that it's coming out so far. And so now I have a pack of these foam roses, also from the Dollar Tree. These are from Crafter's Square, and they come with 16 pieces and 4 variations of colors. So now it's just a matter of deciding which color goes where. My initial instinct was to put one at the top of the witch's hat where that hole is, but I decided that I'm probably going to use that to hang it with, and we're not going to be wasting anything here. I'm going to be utilizing this piece of tulle from that original door hanger that it came on, and I'm just going to use that to hang it from. Anyway, we're going to be taking some of these foam roses, and they do come with these glue dot adhesives, so you don't even have to use any additional glue. So I'm just going to decide the way that I'm going to put it on by dry fitting it, and then we'll attach them accordingly. So after dry fitting those rosebuds, I decided that I wanted to add 2 little clusters on opposite ends of this sign, and I did go ahead and add those glue dot adhesives already onto my rosebuds. So now it's just a matter of removing the backing and attaching them to the sign. And I decided I wasn't going to use orange in my clusters because this sign already has orange on it, and I didn't want it to wash out, so I just decided to use that 1 orange rosebud in the top right hand corner of the witch's hat, as you see there. So now it's just a matter of getting my rosebuds, my little clusters, all attached so that we can finish out this project. So now that I'm done attaching my rose clusters, I could now move on to the last and final step, which is simply to attach that piece of tulle that was originally on that door hanger. And to do so, I'm simply going to be using my little Cricut weeding tool to feed that bad boy right through the hole on the witch's hat. I'm going to tie it in a slip knot, and we're going to call this a finished project. And now that I have my hanger attached, I can now deem this a completed project. And it was extremely super easy and super fun to put together. This is something that you can do with the kiddos, with the grandkids. Nothing to it, no painting, so no allowing for drying time of paint. My kind of DIYs and crafts. Super, super simple, super easy. I enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed it too. Okay, so next up, when I tell you that there has never ever been a more simpler, easier DIY craft here on my channel, I am not over exaggerating. This, you can do it with your eyes closed. It's the most simplest DIY ever. So I have for you one of these little decor drawers from the Dollar Tree. It's just a simple little, like a shadow box, but it has that little pull tag there. So we won't be needing that for this project. So we're simply going to get our trusty little mini screwdriver from the Dollar Tree, and we're going to remove those little screws to take that off, because we won't be needing it, like I said. And we're not going to toss that. We're going to save it, because, you know, you never know when you need these things. And I don't believe in throwing anything away. So we're just going to... And how easy was that? Couldn't get any easier. They were just attached by these little mini screws. And that's it. We're not going to do any painting, sanding, nothing, because nobody's going to see that. It goes to the bottom. And like I said, we're just going to turn this into a little shadow box. So off to the side here, I have a few little pieces that we're going to use as decor. I have this little Farm Fresh apple cider tag, and this was only $1 from the Target dollar spot. One of the very few things that I was able to score for $1, because dollar items don't really exist anymore at the Target dollar spot. Then I have this little palm from the Dollar Tree. It's like a little tarot palm with the eye in the center. Then I have this little stack of books. It's a little decor stack that I created here on my channel using Dollar Tree erasers. I'll try to link that video down in the description bar below. So we're just going to add that little decor stack here in the corner in front of that tag. And then last but not least is this little faux leather pumpkin that came in a pack of 5 from the Dollar Tree, and we're going to put that here in the center because it pulls out the color from the tag as well as the bead, and it all goes cohesively. And there you have it. If that was not the most simplest DIY ever, I don't know what is. And I'm just loving it, and I'm going to be proudly displaying this alongside of the rest of my neutral decor. Okay, so for the final extremely simple, spectacular DIY in this video are these little light up bottles that I found in Dollar Tree. This was a new item this year, and they're just little bottles with fairy lights inside. And so they come like this with a shrink wrap on the cork, and the fairy lights are like tied up. So it's very easy to pass by and just think it's a regular bottle unless you like come up close and expect it. So they had these in an array of colors. They had orange, they had green, they had this clear and another color, I want to say. It was like 4 of them in all. You see the string lights come like that, and then you just have to pull this little tab here and they light up. So you just have to unravel them. Okay, once you've completely unraveled the string, you should be left with something like this, and you're just going to feed it into your bottle as such, just feeding it all the way until it touches bottom of the glass, and then you're going to plug in your little stopper, and that's it. You light it up. So here you have your 2 little bottles, and then I have this pack of cupcake wraps, and these are just little spider scallop little cardboard wraps that you put around your cupcakes. And so I just put it together just like you would if you're putting it around the cupcake, and then you're going to make a little collar for your bottles, and that's all she wrote. This is the entire DIY. And if this is not the easiest DIY ever, I don't know what is. And I think they look stinking adorable. Way to take them up a notch and elevate them to make them, you know, cohesive to your Halloween decor. If you're not over the top, you know, spooky vibes and all of that, this is just something simple and cutesy that you can set alongside any little vignette or set it next to a tier tray. Whatever, the opportunities are endless, and I just love this. So I'm glad I was able to come on here and share this easy idea. So don't sleep on these little bottles or these little cupcake lighters, because you don't always only have to use things for their intended purposes. And that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed.